Hi, welcome to my studio with my Longarm Dancer, a Quilting 24 Pro. Come on over here, Ken, and we'll see how the quilt back has been loaded onto the frame. It's set up so that it's all rolled up on the back roller, and this is the take-up roller, and as the quilt is made it will roll up on that. And the extra over here is for me to be able to practice my tensions and other things. The next step in this process will be to take my batting and put it on top of the backing. Now I'm going to baste a line of stitching that will both hold the batting down to the backing and also give me a line, nice straight line in which to line up my top. My machine has a channel lock way out here that will allow me to do a perfectly straight line that's parallel to the back of the machine, because it's locked it in so it will only go in one direction. So now I'm going to baste to bring up my thread, do a couple securing stitches, and then I'm off.
Is that basting stitch a regulated stitch?
Yes. So what that means is that it bastes it, this bastes it a ½ inch. I have another basting stitch I could pick, which would be, I forget what, an inch or something, but this is fine. So if Ken comes over here, I did this in a contrasting thread, so maybe you can see it. But up here I have a perfectly parallel line to my back roller, and now I can use that to position my quilt top so that it's square on the back. The next step is to position my top on my basting line, preferably actually on the back. Move the machine off. Sort of a sticky batting.
Now the backing is rolled up on the roller nearest to you.
Right.
The batting and the top just sit over the top of that roller.
Right, that's what's known as floating the top. And now I'm going to check and make sure that my top is straight and centered, so that as I go along and roll things up, it'll stay nice and square.
Tell her what that ruler is.
This is a ruler that is zeroed on the center of my machine, or my rollers, and then goes out in either direction. So I'm at 18 3/4 and about 18 3/4 on each side. And you know, so as I say, I know that I'm straight on here. Okay, then I will baste another basting line. This one I won't bother with the channel lock. Nothing like the TV to mess up your style.
But of course.
Okay, we'll do it again. Come on. Oops, didn't hit the run button long enough. Come on. Now I run my basting line so that it'll be inside the binding when the thing is done. So it won't have to be taken out. Now I'm going to come down the side so that everything is secured. that's as far as I can go. I run into stuff. I have to pull up my stitching, find my scissors, which is usually the biggest problem around here. There they are. I put a little thing here, but I don't always remember to use it. Now I'll baste down the other side. Normally I wouldn't baste with this contrasting a thread, but I wanted you to have a chance of being able to see it. Again, pull up my thread, push the machine off. Now I have to clamp the backing and batting so that it's nice and relatively taut.
Are those straps elastic?
No, these are actually big long pieces of Velcro, and in fact this one isn't long enough, so I undo it from the back, put it on, and then tighten it up. And these are really long so that I can have as large or as small a quilt on here as I can fit.
What's the largest you can fit?
108 inches wide. It can be whatever length the other way.
Any length, a mile long.
Mile long. Well, probably not.
Probably not.
It's got to roll up on the backing thing, and it'll get too big to fit under there. But that's 12 inches or more. So, so at this point, I'm ready to sew. I have my top loaded and basted, and I'm ready to do a pantograph. I'm working from the back end of the machine because down here on the table is the pattern that I want to stitch onto the border of this quilt, and the machine has a laser, oops, wrong button, which I will turn up to a higher intensity so you might see it. Alright, and what that shows me is where the needle is on my quilt. So I want to do some checks first to see if the where the needle is going to be relative to where I want. I'm going to put my channel lock on and then run my machine across to see whether the bottom of the bunnies are more or less in the right place, and that's where I want on the quilt top. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the top of the bunny ears, make sure that it's where I want it on the border. Oops, let me get that straight, there we go. And then again with my channel lock I can run and it won't slide out of alignment on me. Oops, I'm going probably too fast. And I just want to make sure that I'm, you know, where I want to be on the quilt. Just make a couple more little tests. Good enough. Okay, so then the name of this game is to basically follow the laser, which is pointing at what I want to stitch. Since I have everything lined up, whatever I do with the laser is what's going to happen on the quilt.
Yeah, make the laser follow the line on the pantograph drawing.
Right.
Then the needle will go where you want on the quilt.
On the quilt. So I'm going to bring up my thread, do a couple security stitches, and in theory I'm ready to go. Okay, I'm going to start my pantograph. I have all the same controls at the back of the machine that I did at the front, and I'm on the right thing, so let's do it. At me when it can't keep up with me. So I need to work on smoothing things out. And I want to stop for just a moment and make sure my tension is really okay. Stitch quality is good. Okay, I'm good to go. Alright, so, oops.
You can hear the machine speeding up and slowing down. That's because she's on stitch regulated mode, where it adjusts the stitching speed according to how fast she's moving.
If I don't hit the line, so what? As long as I'm not going off the edge of my quilt or doing something really awful, it doesn't really matter. Nobody can ever see this pattern. Stop here with my needle down. Oops. Turn it off. Okay, and basically I'm done with the first part of my border, and I have a whole bunch of little bunnies up here and a couple of parrots.
Let's take a look at the bunnies.
Alright.
There's a couple of bunnies. I don't know if you can see them or not. I can barely see them.
Okay, next step here is I'm going to do some stitch in the ditch. I've already advanced my quilt, and I put on my extended base so that I can use a ruler to help me with the stitch in the ditch. So,
Let's see the base.
Base, okay. It's just this big flat thing that makes it wide so that I can put a ruler on
Okay.
and do some work. Okay. So I'm going to start as far down on my quilt as I can reach and line my needle up. Stitch. Okay, now I'm ready to use the ruler as a guide as I gently push the machine along that seam. Getting as close to it as I can without going over. Oops, I'm using invisible thread to hopefully hide whatever errors I have here. Now I'm going to continue along on the top. The machine's unhappy because it waited too long. I haven't done much of this kind of work on this machine, so I'm a little slow. Not as accurate as I might be.
But it's a charity quilt.
Right. stop with my needle down like I can on my domestic machine. Change direction. Oops. That's as far as I can go. Okay, I have stitched in the ditch all around, and now I've stitched around some of these blocks, and I'm about ready to accentuate one of these little elements, so I'm just going to freehand sort of following along. It's hard to tell what you've done and you haven't done. Alright, I think that'll be enough for that particular thing. Okay, now we're ready to continue our bunny border, but along the sides. And the process here is a little bit different in that I can't put it on the table in the back. I pin it to the front of the quilt, and then I move the laser to the front of the machine, do the same adjustments. Now I have to connect up with where I left off with the previous pattern. A few starting stitches in there. Do a few little squigglies to connect up. And then now I'm on the pattern and I just follow along with the laser again. Okay, now I've gone as far as I can on this panel. So now what I want to do is advance my machine. I take off my clamps, undo the roller, undo this roller, and I'm just going to roll the machine back along with the pantograph, hopefully. Until I'm back towards the back, and maybe I can get all my bunnies in. Maybe not. Probably not. Okay, here we are. I've advanced the quilt. I've moved my bunnies down. Got everything lined up, I hope. Looks a little crooked, so actually I'm going to test something. Oh, shut up. Alright. Don't get all bent out of shape. Okay, looks good. It's a little funny on the paper. Alright, ready to continue. I'm all done with my quilt. I'm ready to take it off the frame. Everything's all rolled up back here. Remove my clamps. And I have these wonderful zipper leaders. So I just unzip the whole business. Off that comes. Unroll.
Undo another zipper.
Undo another zipper. Now I will have unpinned, but I can do that at my leisure up watching television. Lovely. And here's my completed quilt.
Voila! A finished quilt in no time.
Well, yeah, right. And there's the front. And here is the back.
Let's zoom in on the back to see the quilting.
Yeah.
Nice. Margaret's happy.